Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Rabble. A disorganized or confused collection of things, a disorganized or disorderly crowd of people, mob, the lowest class of people. So I usually have initial thoughts, mechanics, theme, and then my final thoughts. And on this one, I kind of went off with my initial thoughts for a while and kind of started going into a whole game that, one, I'm sure is already a game, and two, I want to make into a game. It seems easy enough, and I might be able to do it for a session on Pub in a few weeks or something along those lines. So I'm just going to get into it. My initial thoughts was the opposite of set collection. And essentially, getting deeper into it was the opposite of code names. Your goal is to put together sets that players cannot link together, having a messy variety of items in your collection so that it makes no sense and cannot even be called a collection. And to get deeper into it, I thought a game that would be about someone who collected things their whole life, and then you want to sell them off because the collection has outgrown them. Like they're a major hoarder and it's just taking up too much space at this point, or anything along those lines. Or, they passed away, or and you just have to dispose of their belongings, and what you want to do is group things together to make sales. So then I inverted that, and then I inverted again. But I inverted it into that it's your collection, and others have come to try to sell it off. You don't want them to group things together and make sales because it takes longer to sell things one at a time. So you want them to not be able to group things. If they're able to group them, they're going to sell through more of your stuff over the course of the day that they're spending at your house. So the more that you can force them to doing individual sales, the better. They can only do, let's say, 20 sales a day. So you're so disorganized that they cannot group them. You'll have the most left at the end of the day if they sell less, if each sale includes less items. So I wrote, your job is to take a pile of items or cards and give them to each player. Each player will then try to find a connection, grouping as many items together as possible. They will say the items, and then I don't know if they would write it down or say it to you or something. They would make a note of what their word that they would group these is. And if players can say the word that groups them, then the sale is made. And there can be some sort of commerce system where the player that says it, gets to purchase it, or gets to make the sale, or something along those lines, where they're actually making some money off the sale, and it's some sort of bid or something along those lines. But the sale's made, and if not, then the items return to the collection, the ones that were tried to be grouped. Then the player has less to work with, so they might wind up they didn't make a sale. So they might just go with, they might try to sell just one item just to make a sale. Once you make a sale, you get a new batch of items to work with from the older person or whoever it is. And that's where my notebook ended, but I had ideas on how to actually implement this in a way that there wasn't like a one versus many or whatever that character would be. Instead, it was basically just a co-op style game where it's everybody versus the game, and the game would spit out 6 cards randomly, and then each player has to think about how they're going to combine them. They're going to jot down their word. The other players are then going to try to guess, and if it's done, then the sale is made. If it's not, then those cards go back to the system. And maybe you have a goal of selling X amount of games before the day is, or X amount of items before the day is over and the game is over. So there could be some ways to build something into the like the AI of like obviously not a solo game, but a co-op game, where you're playing against the computer. And that's really as far as I got with Rabble. The other two definitions are great. A disorganized or disorderly crowd or mob has there's some great gaming in that, where you're either trying to avoid the crowd, become part of the crowd, which we had before. The crowd is trying to get you out, such as in the game, our game called Cunning Folk by Jay Treat, where if you lie, you're upsetting the mob, and the more that you upset them, then you're going to be ousted from the game. The lowest class is interesting, where you don't have a lot of money, but you still need to get by. So there could be something with money and with using resources to the best of their ability, things like that, or just I don't know. So I didn't even think about either of the two of those, because I got stuck on this disorganized collection of things, which represents me to a degree. Not that I've bought much in recent years, but I used to own a toy store, and I had lots of collections of various toys and things like that, and it's a lot of it still lingers, but there's nothing adding to it. So I have a little bit of that problem, so I can relate, and I want to be that person that is forcing him to sell one item at a time while all my hopes and dreams are being sold off. Okay, well, that's it for today. That's the entire design diary. It's a short one. We had another bonus roundtable episode went up this morning, so it's sort of double the content in one day. But this one's a shorty. Let me know if you have anything for Rabble, whether it's a disorganized collection, a disorderly mob, or the lowest class. If you do, just share it. You can share them, Twitter, Board Game Geek, wherever. But yeah, keep in touch, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks.